one, and you've got to understand every layer of the sales funnel so that you can master it and help move your prospects along the funnel. If you don't get this right, then the whole process of reaching out, getting people aware of you, closing business is just going to be torched. Hi, this is Paul. I'm the founder and president of GIANTCALL Media, and this is my show, Giant TV, where I love to offer value that can help you as you grow and nurture your business. And so I'm breaking down each section of the sales funnel. And this episode here is going to cover awareness and then generating interest. And I'll get into other layers after that. But let's jump into this. I've got some great nuggets for you. Okay, let's jump right into this. Thanks for being here. And this is Giant TV, where I educate, provide value, and just dial you into hot tips, strategies, and tools that can make a difference as you build and nurture your business. And this one is all about sales funnel. I'm doing a series here, and we all have a sales funnel, and I want to go through the steps of the funnel. For this session here, I'm going to cover awareness and interest. Whether you're on top of it or not, you've got a sales funnel. And the more you can understand how to dominate your sales funnel, understand each of the pieces that make up your funnel, and how to handle your prospect through each step of the funnel, then the more you're going to have an effective growth and nurture of your business, and your conversions for everything are going to go through the roof if you understand the sales funnel and how to handle it. So let's get into the funnel here. I want to mention what these steps are. First of all, top of the funnel for all of us is awareness. And awareness is your network, your audience, your prospects, your target niche. Obviously, they need to be aware that you exist. And this is getting the noise out there, being the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. And this is where I'm going to focus on this piece in this presentation here. But awareness is showing up, being present, getting people dialed into your existence. And there's a strategic way to do that. Generating interest. So once people become aware of you, then it's, of course, generating interest and them learning more about you, your product, your service, what you're all about. So this is a very strategic piece of the funnel. I'm going to talk about generating interest. And then as people become interested in you and what you're doing, you get them on a phone call. You obviously got to have a conversation at some point. And this gets into the decision phase here. And this is, you're talking to somebody and you're presenting your solution, your service, your product, and they are in decision mode. And this will be covered in the next session of this series on the sales funnel. But decision mode is very important. What do you do when someone's deciding to work with you? You know, you have a call with them. Not everybody's going to be closed right away. Of course, they're going to be long-term leads. So as they're deciding, what do you do? Very important step. Then there's the action phase. And this is somebody taking action and moving forward and becoming a client. And there are strategic steps involved here as someone is signing up and moving to your becoming your client. And this is the onboarding process. This is, what do you do? How do you treat them? How do you get them connected to your touchpoint ecosystem as a client, and so forth. And then there's the nurture. This is, once they become a client, they can be your best advocate for getting in front of other prospects. And so how do you treat your client once they're on board? Because what a lot of people do is they get a new client and then they just move on to prospecting. They forget about existing clients. There's a big attrition rate. It's a problem. So we're going to cover this in a later session also, is how do you nurture existing clients? So awareness. Awareness is top of the funnel, very important. And as my mom used to tell me and my three brothers, as I mentioned, be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. You got to make a lot of noise here. And some of the high level pieces I want to mention here are, first of all, it all starts with your elevated profile. So your personal brand, your profile, very important today. There just is a huge opportunity for all of us to elevate our profile and get out there and lead and be the lead singer of the rock band that gets the attention, makes a lot of noise, shows up. But you got to put your best foot forward. People are looking at you today. They're making value judgments about you, whether to get on a phone call with you, certainly to buy your product or service. And so your profile is critical. And as you elevate your personal brand and your profile, it really forms the seedling of the rest of your marketing. So you start getting into things like your value proposition statement, what you do, who you do it for, and why you're better than the next person. And the elevated profile also lets you control your story. When people are looking at you on platforms like LinkedIn, maybe you have a YouTube channel, Facebook company page, email, blogs going out, wherever you're showing up, if you have that elevated profile, you want to make sure that people know exactly what you do, and there's no mystery about that, because if they're trying to figure out what is this person all about, you're going to lose them. And so the profile is about a really tight, concise brand, and making sure that you are taking advantage of all the bells and whistles to elevate your brand profile. LinkedIn is a great example. LinkedIn keeps focusing and adding tools to the site that allow you to stand out. And the algorithm on LinkedIn even picks up on how you're using the platform. Brand is part of it. Are you reaching out? Have you elevated your profile and used all the tools they give you? And so very important, if you're going to be on LinkedIn, to make sure you understand that whole process and to stand out. And if you get with me later on, if you ever want to get one-on-one, I go through LinkedIn profile makeover. Happy to have a discussion with you about what's involved in that. That's a whole discussion in and of itself. But your elevated profile is huge because people are looking at you, the platform's looking at you, LinkedIn is scoring you. It's called your social selling index, and you have a score from 1 to 100. 1, you're lousy, 100, you're great. And if you have low scores, then LinkedIn is making you irrelevant on the platform. And again, the social selling index is measuring how you're using the tools on LinkedIn to stand out. So elevated profile is huge. Get that down and just put your best foot forward. Consistent messaging. So this is really, really important when it comes to awareness, top of the funnel, is think about who you want to work with. Who are those people? What are the challenges, opportunities that they're dealing with? Put yourself in their shoes and really understand what's important to them. And then your messaging is going to be geared around that. And to a big extent, so is your profile, and the way you're showing up is you want to show up in a certain way to the people you want to work with. But the messaging has got to be consistent wherever you're showing up, whether, again, it's email, LinkedIn events, you're posting content. The messaging has got to be tight, on brand, consistent, and you're leading people to a common call to action with your messaging. So think about your messaging, and messaging is not about selling. Messaging at the top here is about adding value and teaching and educating, which I'm going to get into in a little bit more in the next slide. But you want that messaging to be consistent wherever you're showing up. Multiple channels. So you want to really just saturate your ecosystem with your content and your brand and making noise. And I don't mean spamming and going crazy with that. I just mean that you've got to have multiple channels: email, LinkedIn articles, posting content on LinkedIn, LinkedIn events, and outreach, lead generation, all these places, YouTube. Maybe you're on Instagram, whatever the case is. The key is people want to be able to see you, see your stuff, watch you in different areas. And the more you can get in front of them as people are moving around to different places, the more chance you're going to have of being seen, being heard. Podcasting is another great channel to have, especially if you're using video for your business. You can rip out the audio, get it into podcast, and show up on iTunes and Spotify. So you want to have as many channels as you can, and there's a very effective way and an organized way to repurpose and show up on a lot of channels. But it's important to be out there in a lot of different areas. Also, you want to have original content. So this is a very big deal, because what most people do is they share other people's content. Here's a top 10 list from Warren Buffett. Here's an Inc. magazine article. Not that that content isn't good, but it doesn't do anything for your brand or building you up as the authority figure in your niche. And also the algorithms, again, wherever you're showing up, they see if it's the same content other people are sharing. The algorithms see it and they push it down. This is certainly true for search engine optimization. If you're using SEO on a website, you've got to have original content. It is really the gasoline that drives the engine is your original content. And if you're sharing other people's content, again, it doesn't endear you or create trust or knowability with your audience. And this is about thinking again of what your audience cares about and then creating content around that. It's not about having to be a content creator all day long. We're all busy, we got stuff to do. But again, this is high level focus areas. Beneath all this, there's a detailed discussion about how to execute on it, but original content is huge. And just, if you go on LinkedIn, for example, our professional site for folks like me and you, that you'll see a lot of content is just other people's stuff, magazine articles, PDFs, newsletters of other people. Go read this, check this out. Nobody's reading it. Look at the views. Nobody's checking it out. And I work with a lot of coaches and Vistage chairs and great people. And I really am focused on getting them away from sharing other content that's not their own. There's so much competition amongst executive coaches, consultants. Everybody's calling themselves that today. And so it's even more important to stand out and be different. And you can with original content. Okay, so now with awareness, it's about making noise, showing up, being loud, multiple channels, getting out there, original content, all that stuff. Then the second layer of your funnel is you're generating interest. So now that somebody sees you, now you need to generate interest in learning more about you. And a common mistake that people make is, and this is at the top of the funnel, is they start just pushing out their information on their product or service. And no one is trying to figure out your product or service at this point. They don't really know anything about you, and you haven't provided any value. They don't see you as an expert. They don't trust you. They don't really know you at all. And so you've got to build that up, the rapport, the likability, the trust factor. And my mantra has always been give before you take, is give away information and teach people. And that way they can learn, guide them. And, if you understand who your market is, then you'll know the challenges they're dealing with, guide them to solutions on the challenges they're dealing with. And I'll give you an example. I'm building out a law firm, asset protection, estate planning law firm. We know our client base and we know the challenges they have. And with estate planning, for example, if it's not done and life happens, people and businesses get hurt, because without proper planning, people get nailed with taxes. There's emotional distress, families fall apart, government steps in and starts making decisions because people didn't do their planning correctly. So we know the pain. We know that happens. We see it. So we talk about guiding people on how do you get your living trust done. Here are the steps. Here's how to evaluate an attorney. So we teach them, provide them solutions, and they start to get to know us. And so what is your business? What can you do to teach and guide your prospects? No products on the top of the funnel. And so generating interest, the way you do it is as you're teaching and guiding, what are the distribution channels to get that information out there? Email nurture is great. So email's been around a long time. People tend to poo-poo email just because it has been around. Email is incredible. If it's done right, built right, then it really works to nurture, and you have a proactive way to get in front of your prospects with valuable information. And so email is fantastic. All of us need a process for gathering email along the way, and then getting it into our distribution platform like Constant Contact, and then having consistent emails go out. Emails work if they're consistent, the value's great, the look of the email is great, meaning it's not some crammed newsletter looking thing that no one's going to read, that's painful for the eye to even look at. So there's elements that go into building a proper email nurture campaign. If you have that going great, then it really does work. And I just see excellent open rates with executive coaches who do this right, and they have an engaged audience through email. So you're generating interest in you with high value emails that are going out. I want to mention virtual events here because this is a great channel. This is utilizing tools such as LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn Events, Zoom to teach and to get out there and to get in front of people. These webinars, virtual events are awesome. Again, done right, where it's high value, you have a brand around it, so it's really put together nicely, and you're getting it out to your handpicked niche target audience, so they see it, and you become a teacher here. And as you consistently do this, because it's not a one-time thing, but for instance, if you're doing monthly event on LinkedIn Live and using the LinkedIn event tool, and you're inviting people, and you can integrate Zoom with that, and you get that going, and you do it over and over, and think about really helping people, the audience will come. You'll see more and more engagement, and you'll see people starting to really understand who you are, what you do, and starting to trust you. The virtual events are incredible. Everybody's online today. Everyone gets it. And there just is a massive opportunity to use this channel to your benefit, and to get more and more people interested in who you are and what you're doing. Outreach, these are lead generation campaigns, and I look at these a little bit differently. The outreach is to build up a network of handpicked people. Could be prospects, certainly spheres of influence, people that you want to network with, but you want to connect with them and get them in your touch point ecosystem. And when you do that, then you obviously become connected. You can start generating interest by them seeing your content and subscribing to your blogs and all of that. So the outreach, which you can automate and scale, this is part of generating interest, especially if the messaging with your outreach is done the right way, where you're not just connecting with people and pitching immediately, which is a big mistake, but you're connecting and teaching and guiding and having a discussion, building rapport, and then moving them down the funnel. So these outreach campaigns are very, very important. And I'll say that, as always, for people that show up to my events and see these videos I do, I always offer the opportunity to get one-on-one with me to have a discussion about your business. The way to do it is to text GIANTCALL to that number there, and you'll be able to pick a time to get with me. And I'd love to learn more about your business and you, what's working, what's not working. And I can share my screen and show you the process that helps people to have an efficient growth and nurture their business. So would love to talk. Stay tuned for more, because now that we've gone into awareness and generating interest, we're going to dive deep into the next step of your funnel. If you master those 2 steps at the top of your funnel, you want to talk more about what's beyond that with me one-on-one, book a call. Just you've got to really master that, because you can lose people at the top and you won't get a chance to really get on a call with them or convert them at the bottom of your funnel. Okay, stay tuned. We'll see you next time.